smarts and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's Donji Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new type of video, and this video is going to be for like something I did back in around 2022 as a quickie for 3 films I watched over the summer, and now it's going to be a few 4 films I watched over Christmas but I've decided not to review. Well, I've liked 3 of these, 1 of these I've hated, but anyway, let's get started with this quickie right now, beginning with what I watched first. So I first saw The Whale, and it was pretty good. Now, I have lost my respect for the director back in 2017 when he did Mother, but I went and saw this movie for Brendan Fraser's big comeback. The film itself is quite less pretentious and more honest than most of A24 films to date. It also has more of a straightforward delivery than most of Aronofsky's perplexing work. Honestly, with the subject matter it needed to be, and relies mostly on pure emotion and struggle, which is shown masterfully by Fraser. There have been a lot of preconceived, outrageous overreactions and ridiculous assumptions based on the fact that Fraser wears a fat suit and getting prosthetics to appear as a morbidly obese person. I don't see why this is a problem, mainly due to the fact that this is a film made to entertain and not to do so. Sometimes you wear things or makeup after looks. It would be difficult to cast a real-life person off the street and have them pour their real emotions out on screen. I don't see that being easy. It was also nice to see T.Y. Simpkins return to acting here, as well as Han Chow as Liz was great too. Her back and forth with Fraser was very enjoyable. Why you should see this film though is Brendan Fraser, period. It sounds cliche to say that he transformed himself and he deserves an Oscar, but all that chatter out of festivals this year is all true. His performance here is unlike anything he has ever done. My eyes couldn't leave the screen to his performance, but my biggest bad quality is I found the daughter to be very annoying in practically every scene she had on screen, and I blame the script for that move, guys. But anyways, I enjoyed The Whale for what it was, as it made me think of my past life decisions, and I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Next up, I saw Babylon, and it was very long and very boring. There's a lot to love about a movie that oozes this much unfettered passion about movie making. Tremendous performances by the actors, beautiful sets and cinematography, and I love the references to Singing in the Rain, but the film was a great deal too long and too bizarre. It seemed like the director just wanted to see how many weird things he could get away with. I'm surprised it wasn't rated NC-17 for the explicit content it had, which was just uncomfortable and unnecessary. The whole movie was very hit or miss, but to its credit, it always goes all out, so when it hits, it's amazing. The misses were awful. I love the energy and storytelling. There were a lot of interesting characters, but too many subplots made the story feel uneven, like it was all over the place. And what was that ending montage? So random. It was loud, obnoxious, debauched, chaotic, and egocentric. I find it hard to believe that Hollywood was pornographically excessive. The LA underworld was even worse. I think Sodom and Gomorrah would have been a more appropriate title. The saving graces were Diego Calvo and Gene Smart, characters I could relate to. Brad Pitt was decent and likable. Margot Robbie's character was one extreme and another, with full blast crazy being her Mo. She wasn't likable, but her performance was exceptional. I think overall I just wanted to feel like I knew what they were doing, so I could maybe appreciate their intent and execution if it was good. In the end, I just didn't feel it was understandable to have the chance of being good. It felt like the script was a first draft of too many ideas by too many writers, and no one took charge and streamlined the entire product into something worth consuming and appreciating. There were good moments from time to time, but in the end, it was not great, and I'm going to give Babylon a 5 out of 10. To end off 2022, I saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and I was honestly very surprised by it. I expected it to be an unneeded cash grab, trying to also cash it on into the Spider-Verse with its animation. I did not expect a sequel to a decent spin-off DreamWorks film over a decade ago to be one of the most poignant, introspective, genuinely hilarious, and heartwarming films of the year, but here we are. After an overly cheesy, somewhat clunky opening sequence, The Last Wish was quickly beginning developing an insanely assortment of characters into distinct, quirky personalities with sympathetic desires and clear goals. The film juggles several character arcs, and it's almost miraculously how it successfully handled all of them with proper setup and satisfying, emotionally weighty payoffs. The screenplay is wacky, witty, and also bursting with heart as it steals of weighing themes of trusting others and finding purpose in any circumstances, and it tackles these themes in ways that are always understandable to all ages, but never insultingly oversimplified. The story itself is functional, but all characters are given meaningful and relatable arcs. Between the melancholic Puss reaching the end of his days as a great hero, his always positive dog sidekick, and the 3 antagonistic parties trying to reach the magical MacGuffin, there's a lot going on, none of it feels forced in. The two greatest assets the movie brings in its humor and the stunning action scenes. First of all, the movie has bite, and it's back to the tone with the first Shrek movie, lots of jokes that are working on a children and adult level of understanding. While the story is easy to follow for kids, the themes explored are relatively mature and will keep adults engaged. Doug still holds a place for cutest animated dog in a movie, but Perotto was definitely giving him a run for his money. He was so pure and cute, and his dialogue was always perfectly timed. The scene with the bleeps when he gets kidnapped by Goldie and the three bears was hilarious, and him putting his head on Puss's chest acting as his therapy dog was one of the cutest things I was ever seen. Death was one of the coolest animated villains I've seen. Also, the animation scene was fine for the action scenes, and his appearance was always epic. But if there was a bad quality, I would say that the main villain was very boring and generic, and the Spider-Verse animation was not needed and very distracting. But despite that, I still enjoyed this movie for what it was, and I will be giving this movie a 9 out of 10. And finally, I watched Netflix's Pinocchio, and it was way better than Disney's shitty live-action attempt at a story. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is exactly that, a beautiful and unique interpretation of a classic that explores death and grief in ways that are often emotional and heartbreaking while still delivering a fun adventure with gorgeous animation against a classically disturbing del Toro backdrop. Gregory Mann gives an incredible lead performance, indulging Pinocchio with a boundless warmth and naivety that thankfully never becomes annoying. Ian McGregor makes a terrific comic relief and is an absolute joy to hear whenever he's on screen. David Bradley is so good as Geppetto, subtly bringing so much pain to the character that breaks your heart and makes his moments of happiness all better experience. Rounding out the cast is Christoph Waltz, on point as usual with another truly evil character. This film was not meant to have the lighthearted, happy-go-lucky vibes of Disney's 1940 film, but rather a modernist taking prizing the wonders of childhood, faith, and friendship. Up against the all-consuming tyranny of fascism, the stitches slow business tactics, and the double-edged sword of time itself, Pinocchio is a conceptually heavy film that doesn't condescend its younger audiences, nor its older ones. It respects all the age groups equally without compromising the story and fairy tale qualities of the Pinocchio story at its core. It's like a hard-boiled folk tale that knows when to be optimistic and when to be cautionary in equal measures. And that's the magic Guillermo del Toro does so damn well in spades. I'm sure there are little complaints or nitpicks I can have. I as strong and believable as emotional as an actor Gregory Mann is for the regular scenes. He's slightly a one-note singer for me, but they mostly pale in his giant work of a vision that is collaborative. Yet del Toro's voice and mind, his vision is very potent and daring, that of creating the story of disobedience in the face of big paternal thing of fantastic leaders and so-called fathers, and a fairy tale and a logical approach. Anyways, Pinocchio was definitely very phenomenal, and I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10. And there we go. Those were the quick thoughts on the 4 movies I had watched this past holiday break. And I want to know what your guys' thoughts on this movie were if you watched some of these or haven't seen some of these. But feel free to let me know your opinions down below. And anyway, guys, thanks for watching. That'll be it for this video. And if you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Don G. Corleone.